let's review the primary policy section. So for the primary information, there's a few things that I want you to keep in mind. On the top, it gives you the name of the policyholder. So technically it gives you the policy number on the top, the program, just in case sometimes you're going to need to determine what program do they have. Is it RSVP or is it special? The effective date, when did the policy start? And then also when does it expire? And then it gives you the name of the policyholder. Status is gonna, if it shows active, it's active. If it shows released, that means it's active as well. If it shows pending non-payment, that means that the policy is late. Or if it shows canceled, that means that the policy is canceled. So let me just give you an idea. And that's how you determine the status of the policy. So let me open up a policy that is late, so the status is different. So for this one, it shows cancel pending non-payment. So whenever you see this, that means that the policy is pending cancellation. That means it's late. We'll review a little bit more information. Let me open up another tab. So we'll review all three. A policy that's active, a policy that has a late payment, and a policy that is canceled. So you can determine the difference within the information. Okay, so we're going to review all three policies. So let's review the first one. First one is the one we were reviewing earlier. It shows released. That means the policy is active. If the policy shows cancel pending non-payment, that means that the policy is late. The payment is late. The policy is still not canceled. If you go to the bottom, which we'll review it in a couple seconds, it gives you the date that the policy will cancel if the payment is not made before this date. And then also, if the policy is completely canceled, then it's going to show canceled / and then it's going to give you a reason. If it's non-pay, that means the payment was canceled due to the payment not being processed. If it has something else, and there may be a different reason, we would need to look into this. So once again, it gives you the information of the customer, the status of the policy, and then in the bottom it gives you the address of the client, where the client lives, and it gives you the phone number. So once again, the top part gives you a policy number, program, effective date, expiration date, name of the client, the status of the policy, and then the address. Now let's review this bottom part, which the information is going to change on all three policies, and that's based on the status of the policy. Now, it gives you the term of the policy, which is 12-month policy. This one was a 12-month policy as well, and then the last one was a 12-month policy. With Infinity, the majority of the policies are 12-month policies. Now, if we look into the middle and the right section of the information, it gives you the original effective date. So this shows 2011. Most likely this client had a policy with Infinity at one point within this date. This doesn't really matter. What matters is the cancellation date here, if there's anything. It gives you the current pay due, which is the due date of the current payment. So the next payment will be requested 8/12, and it gives you the amount, which is $115. Last payment process was 7/18/2019, and it was for $108. So this section over here, it allows you, if the policy is active, it allows you to view the next payment, instead of going into the installments, you could actually review it here. So it gives you the next payment, the amount, and the due date. And also it gives you the most recent, the last payment that was processed, the date, and the amount. Now let's review the next policy. This one is a pending policy. The payment is late. So it gives you the cancellation date. So the difference between this one and the previous one is that this one has a cancellation date. So technically, it still gives you the due date, which is 8/10, but it's under the cancellation date. So if the payment is not processed before the 10th, the policy will be canceled as of the 10th, 12:01 a.m. So technically, the last day to make this payment would be on the 9th. But it gives you the last payment that was processed, which was July the 3rd for $75. So technically, the payment, the last payment that was processed was July the 3rd. They haven't made a payment, and the payment is late, and they have until the 8th to make the payment before the policy cancels. Now let's look at the other one. This policy is canceled, so the cancellation date is 7/24, which means the policy was canceled as of the 24th of July. It gives you the last payment that was processed, which was July the 4th for $203. So it gives you all the information. It gives you the information of the last payment, the amount. It gives you the information when the policy was canceled. So for the primary policy information section, it gives you a description of the policy, the policyholder, the name, address, phone number, the status of the policy. Most importantly, it tells you when the payment is due. It's always going to be under current pay due. So this is the due date of the payment, which is 8/12, and it tells you the amount. And also it gives you the history of the last payment, the amount that was processed, and also the due date. Well, not the due date, but the actual date of the last payment. So once again, the primary policy information section gives you a summary of the whole policy, from the policy holder's information to the status of the policy and the payment, the due date, the last payment, and the amounts.